We're going to talk about two different assessment techniques that you can use on Zoom. I didn't come up with these. These are things that I got from a PD and then one from someone on my team. They're easy and you might already be doing them, but the first one is called work mode. This is really helpful for when you're giving those big EL assessments, like the ones that are coming out of your resource manual. For example, we couldn't start our small groups until we had given our kids the fluency and the spelling. It's basically their version of the words their way. So to do this, I wanted to make sure that I was seeing the kids actually write so that I could get a real authentic picture of where they were. So for work mode, we have them take their paper, put it right in front of them, and then they take their screen and they tilt it until I can see the paper in front of them. This is helpful because this way they don't get distracted by looking at their peers or you on the screen because they can hardly see anything. So they're really just focusing on listening to you and then writing it on the paper. It's also helpful so that you can see that the students are actually doing the work independently. Of course, there could be someone beside them prompting them, but you can see the real-time work happening. And then after they are done, we do a test selfie is what we call it. And they just put their paper beside their face and we all say cheese. And I take a screenshot. And that helps me so that later on when I'm trying to grade their assessments, I can go back and look at that screen grab or that screenshot and I can see if the assessment has been changed from the time that it was taken to when it was sent to me. So after we finish it, we take a selfie with it, and then I ask them to take a picture of their assessment and send it to me through either a message or portfolio on ClassDojo. And that's really how I grade it. I don't really grade it looking at the screenshot because it's too fuzzy. But I am able to go back and forth between the two if I need to. Hopefully you don't need to, but this past week I had one student where when I was looking at the assessment, I thought, wow, there's been a huge amount of growth. And I wanted to make sure that the group that I placed him in was appropriate. So I went back and looked at my screenshot and it looked like someone had altered about 50% of his test. So it's a good way to keep yourself and your students accountable. The second technique is called heads up. And this is really helpful if you are a lower grades teacher. It's probably something that a lot of us are already doing, but I saw it in a PD and I thought, hey, that's pretty smart. So normally when we give our kids sight words, we're able just to look across the table and you can see what they're doing or where their mistakes are. But on Zoom, it's a little trickier. So you can either have them do work mode like this, but then of course it's a little bit more difficult to read it upside down because when you're doing small groups, you actually do have to read it and assess it in the moment. So what I usually do is I'll give the word, we'll say I'm giving the word out, and then I count down 3, 2, 1, heads up, and they flip it into their camera. Or if they have enough space, they actually put it on their head. And then I give them a secret sign, which is this, and it tells them to erase it. So I can really easily grab my little checklist in my skills binder, and I can check who's got it and who needs more practice. So heads up is really helpful for small group, and work mode is great for any kind of assessment where you want to see them take the test. So I will say it's a little bit harder if they're using an iPad, but if my first graders could figure it out, then surely most students can. They were able to maneuver it or lean it on something so that I could see their paper. So that's it, work mode and heads up.